When you go out drinking in Japan, you often go to bars called izakayas. They're Japanese-style bars where you order a bunch of different dishes with your drinks. These are my top 5 izakaya dishes. I'll show you to make them at home. Let's get started. So the first thing you gotta order at an izakaya is edamame. But I know you didn't come here just to see me steam edamame, so let's maximize their flavor with a quick stir-fry. I have a bag of fresh edamame here. Of course, frozen work just as well too. For fresh edamame, I will sprinkle them with a little salt and give them a rub. This will help get rid of some of the hair-like fibers on the outside shell. Skip this step if you're using frozen. I'll rinse, discard the water, and now it's time to steam. I'll steam them for about 5 to 6 minutes. You could get away with 3 to 4 minutes if you're boiling them. While those steam, let's dice a couple cloves of garlic. Let's check on the edamame. They have a nice vibrant green color, which is good. If they become a darker green color, you've gone too far. There we have the edamame. Give them a quick quality check. They should have a nice bite to them, which is fine. Alright, let's stir fry them. Heat a neutral oil. Stir fry the garlic first. Once fragrant, add in a pinch of chili flakes. Okay, that's more than a pinch, but hey, the heat level is up to you, so adjust accordingly. Give those a brief saute too. Toss in the edamame. Stir or toss to make sure they are well coated in the garlic and chili. Add a tablespoon of oyster sauce, which should bring a rich depth and sweetness. Give it a stir. Drizzle a little sesame oil for fragrance. Give it one last toss. Serve in a large bowl. Sprinkle with sesame seeds, and there we have our first appetizer. You can eat them as you would normally eat edamame. You may need an oshibori. Next, a pickled preparation. Nasu-dsuke. Every time I see these on an izakaya menu, I just have to get them. It turns out they're really easy to make, but require one specialty pickling agent. It's called myouban in Japanese. In English, it's called alum, or alum pickling powder. It works like magic. I'm using about 3 whole Japanese eggplant. If you have larger eggplant, cut them in half or quarters. Give them a wash. Get out a large zipped-up bag, and place the eggplant inside. Measure out 400 milliliters of water, and pour it over the eggplant. Next, 1 tablespoon of plain old salt, and a tablespoon of myouban. Seal it up, and squeeze out as much air as possible. You can see the bits of alum are kind of floating around like bits of styrofoam. They will dissolve though. Just give everything a massage, or a shake. Make sure the eggplant is well submerged, and the alum dissolves. Place in the refrigerator for several hours, the more time the better. Overnight is recommended. This is what they look like after 3 hours, and this is what they look like after 3 days. To serve, remove from the pickling liquid and slice. Arrange on the plate with a little Japanese mustard. After a 3-hour pickle, they weren't bad, but I recommend making them at least a day in advance. Or if you're making them to eat during the same day, cut them in half to help the pickling process along. Okay, the first couple of rounds of drinks are kicking in, so let's order something a little more filling. Next, seasoned fries. I love fries. At izakayas, they are often seasoned with unique flavors, so I can't help but order a plate or 2, for the table of course, for the table. Bring your oil up to temperature. I deep fry at home maybe 2 to 3 times a month. I filter the oil after each use, and use the oil up to 5 to 6 times. The second or third time using fry oil is the best, like this oil right here. Make sure to keep track of the temperature with a thermometer. I'm aiming for about 180 degrees Celsius, or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's also prepare a landing spot with a rack and a tray. I line these with paper towels as they will wick away any oil. Never put fried food directly on a paper towel. That will result in greasy food as the oil has nowhere to go. Now that the oil is up to temperature, let's fry our fries. Yes, I'm using frozen fries as I often do for izakaya nights, and likely that's what izakayas themselves use. No shame in it. They are blanched and then frozen, so they only take about 4 minutes in the fryer to become golden brown. Make sure to fry in batches so the temperature of the oil doesn't drop too quickly. Remove and place on your rack. Now that we have our fries fried, let's season them. Get out a large bowl. Toss in about a half teaspoon of curry powder, and equal amounts of garlic powder, dried parsley, and salt. You could add a little cayenne for heat, but I was out. Dump the fries in and give them a toss so they're evenly coated. Place them on a plate, and serve with a dab of Japanese mayo, because come on, mayo and fries is amazing, and the classic ketchup. And there we have our seasoned fries. I love ordering fries when I go out to izakayas in Japan. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Fried potatoes are delicious. Next, nankotsu karaage. Okay, stay with me here. These are chicken nankotsu, which is chicken cartilage. This part right here is the soft piece of breastbone. It is a mind over matter thing. I was hesitant my first time having them, but then I couldn't get enough of them after experiencing that satisfying crunch. Of course, chicken karaage with thigh meat works just as well instead. I'll leave the link for that video in the description. Regardless of the cut you use, the marinade is the same. Soy sauce, sake, mirin, sesame oil, grated ginger, and grated garlic. Stir them around with some tongs. Once thoroughly mixed, wrap it up and marinate for at least 30 minutes. Heat the oil back up to temperature. After it's marinated, add in 2 tablespoons of flour and an equal part of starch. Give that a mix so everything is coated. Once coated, fry them in batches, lowering them in individually and stirring with a spider so they don't clump. They are small, so they only need about a 2 to 3 minute fry time. Once they are golden brown, set on your rack and fry the next batch. Now that we're done frying, let's cover the oil and let it cool. Serve on a plate, garnish with a couple of lemon wedges, and a dab of Japanese mayo with some shichimi, 7 spice, sprinkled over it. And there we have our nankotsu karaage. Come on, you know you want one, don't you? After our fried order, it's time to finish with something warming and satisfying, like a simmered dish. This is a simmered dish of beef tendons. Again, stay with me here. Once simmered, they are soft and delicious. Let's get started with the supporting vegetables. We'll use the tops of a long green onion and some sliced ginger to flavor the braising liquid. We'll also use some daikon, which we'll peel, quarter, and cut into wedges about 1 centimeter thick. The carrots we'll peel, cut in half, and in half moons, also about 1 centimeter thick. Set those aside. Next, this is a specialty ingredient, konjac. I use this in my tonjiru video as well. It has a unique texture to it. Drain the liquid. Depending on the type you have, you may need to boil it for a minute or 2 to get rid of the odor. See the tonjiru video for that. But this is a rinse-only type, which is great. Just be sure of which type you have before cooking it with everything else, or the whole dish will taste off. Grab a spoon and just pull apart some random shaped but similar sized pieces. Once you have your konjac pulled apart, put them in a strainer and rinse. Again, be sure which type you have, blanch if necessary. I'll toss them in their own little bowl. And there we have our supporting ingredients. But the main star is gyusuji, which is beef tendons. It's a cheap cut and takes a little work to get tender. If you can't get beef tendons, get whatever cut of meat you would use for a stew and make sure it has some good connective tissue to it. The tendons I will cut into bite-sized pieces. Once they're cut, toss them in a large pot. We'll be cooking these in a couple of steps to get them tender. Before we do anything else, remember to clean your knife and board immediately. Okay, back to the beef. Cover with water, bring to a boil, and boil for 1 minute. The first part is cleaning the beef tendons so you can see all the impurities coming out as foam. Strain the meat and give them a rinse. Let's also clean the pot. Return the beef to the pot, cover with water, and repeat this process 1 more time. This time a lot less impurities came out. In fact, maybe we could have skipped the second time, but anyway, strain, rinse, return the beef to the pot once more, and now it's time to bring it all together. Add in the green onions, the ginger, the vegetables, and konjac. Cover in about 1 liter of water, 100 milliliters of soy sauce, 50 milliliters each of sake and mirin, 2 teaspoons of dashi, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Give that all a mix. Finally, let's also add 3 to 4 tablespoons of miso, which we will place in a ladle and slowly incorporate like this. Okay, everything's in. We'll cook this under pressure. So let's seal up the lid. Don't mind me and my chopstick method. The mechanism gets stuck when closing it. Let it come up to pressure on high heat. Once it does, lower the heat to low and cook under pressure for 20 minutes. If you're not using a pressure cooker, triple the cooking time. While that simmers, leave a like, I'd really appreciate it. After 20 minutes, turn off the heat, but do not use the pressure release valve. That is, unless you want to apply a fresh coat of miso soup on your walls. Let it come down from pressure naturally, so I'll just set that aside. After it's come down from pressure, open it up. Serve in a large dish, and sprinkle some green onions on top. There we have our simmered gyusuji nikomi. Let's give it a taste. Those are my top 5 izakaya dishes. I hope you give one or all of them a try at home. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and check out this video next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.